you got to get lucky a couple of times to win this game, and that was the opposite of getting lucky. I looked around at the buff everybody had, and I thought, "Ooh, this might not end well for me." Yeah, it was a bad swap. I was on the wrong end of things.
Was there a specific makeup that you were hoping to get just between the people you were with originally and the new people? Like, what was your ideal draw there?
You know what? I didn't think about it, and I don't know why, because we all knew that a shakeup was coming. When you've got one tribe down to two members, we all knew something was going to happen, and I didn't sit down and think, well, this would be great and this would be bad. I just thought, great, something's about to happen. Because up to that point, winning every challenge seems like the best way you could possibly play Survivor. But it got to a point that it's like, I don't feel like I'm playing Survivor. And so it was just exciting to know that something was going to happen. And all of a sudden I thought that maybe this isn't so exciting when I looked at the makeup.
We're like, oh, the game has really begun now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to talk about going into tribal. Did you think that getting out Nate was going to come to fruition? And if so, what were the details of that you thought was
it was, I absolutely knew it was a long shot. I thought, I'm not going to just roll over, but the obvious move here is they're going to take out a Hina. It's me or it's Jason. And, what can I do? How can I play this? And I immediately ruled out campaigning against Jason. I grew to love the guy. That's not how I'm going to play. It's not how I'm going to go out. I'm not going to say, hey, let's all write down Jason's name. Yeah, I thought I'll give him my reasons to keep me around, and I'm gonna throw this Hail Mary pass. I was friendly with Joanne. They didn't justify our relationship with the edit. I had the journey with Joanne and Jake, and we talked, and we basically made an alliance. We're going to work together after the merge. That never made the cut. And then the morning of my tribal, Joanne and I spent 2 hours together out on the boat fishing and talking. And I really thought I could flip him. I thought, dude, you're on the bottom. This is your chance to make a move. I really thought there was a chance, there was a possibility. And I thought, even though it's an absolute, maybe 5%, let's just say a 5% chance, it's something. And I'm just going to go this direction, and this is going to be my path forward. And if it does work, it'll be absolutely amazing. And obviously, I'm here. They're still out there. Things didn't go my way, but sometimes you don't have a lot to work with in this game. And I was in a tough spot. I did what I could, and didn't work out for me.
You said you trusted Jawan. So what was your reaction to seeing that he completely ratted you out to the rest of the former, Red Tribe?
Yeah, they did a good job smoke screening me. Yeah. I thought, honestly, it's a bad move for Jawan. He's in a fantastic spot. It's too early to make a big move like this. So I wasn't surprised. I thought, if it does work, it's going to be a crazy thing. But I completely understand Jawan's thought process. He was out collecting information, bringing it back to his tribe. He did a good job smoking me on it. I thought that there was a chance that he would flip. So no, I wasn't surprised. I was kind of bummed, but I would have done what Jawan did. He played it smart. It was a little early to do anything that crazy, unless he was absolutely offended by somebody, and he wasn't. He was. Yeah.
They got along enough that it was too hard to kind of break them up. They were too tight.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What was your reaction to Nate was saying that, you were dead to him? He didn't seem to really like you a lot towards the end by the time Tribal was happening. What was your reaction to that? Did it feel personal, or was it not personal?
It's playing a game. The truth is, in a different world, in a different swap, I would have loved to work with Nate.
Mhm.
I think we would have had that old guy dynamic, and we could have come together and really done some stuff. And my I can see where he's like, you know what, you're coming for me. That's not going to end well for you. I've got the numbers. I'm in control here, and he was, and he did, and I'm out, and he's still there. But yeah, it's Survivor. Yeah, that's the game. You got to take a swing at somebody at some point, and uh, I kind of viewed him as the guy in charge over at Uli. And my pitch to Jason was, or sorry, not Jason, Jawan was, look, you're on the bottom. You want to change your situation. Let's take out who's on top. And this is the move. This is a big move, and it's going to be your move, and it's going to be crazy amazing. And I thought I could sell him on it. Well, I hoped I could sell him on it, but I knew going into it, it was going to be a tough sell. And he did what was right for his game at the time. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Why not play your shot in the dark? Was that something that you were considering seriously or no?
I considered it briefly, and another thing that didn't really come through in the edit was Jason, Sophie, Jawan, and myself were all in cahoots. We were all supposed to write down Nate, and Jawan says, "I'm on board. I'm going to do it. Let's do it." So as we talked throughout the day, I told Sophie and Jason, look, it's going to happen. Just play it cool. Write down Nate. Just pretend you're on the outs. Pretend you're worried, and we're going to write down Nate. And they're like, let's do it. Yay. And I thought, there's a chance that they're acting and they're going to pull this off. And if everybody writes down Nate and then I play my shot in the dark and throw my vote in the garbage, I'm going to be the biggest schmuck in Survivor history.
True.
So I thought, there's no way I can play it just on the off chance that these guys come through and pull it together. Right. And I'm the guy who screws it up. I would never recover from that. So yeah, because it just kind of immediately became not an option.
All right, yeah. Well, the way you put it that way, that definitely makes sense, because then you have a 3-3 split if you don't have a vote, and then you're screwed there. You're screwed. Yeah. You got a little shady about Sandra. How come you don't have any love for the two-time winner? Explain yourself.
It's so different when you're out there. I'm sitting home, watching on TV. I watch Sandra. I'm like, how is that a strategy? How can anyone go play Survivor and your strategy is anyone but me? And then when you're out there and your back's against the wall, and Nate said, you were throwing these guys under the bus. I said, no, I wasn't. I wasn't campaigning against Jason or against Sophie. I just said anyone but me. And I thought, prior to going out on the island, I thought those words will never come out of my mouth. I'm a smart guy. I'm going to come up with a strategy. And there I am, anyone but me. So I bow down. I apologize, Sandra. You got it to work. You got it to work twice. I couldn't get it to work for one tribal. So you know something I don't, Sandra.
Yeah, because some of social media was a little ticked off at you about the Sandra thing, but you are apologizing, so that's fair. Did you see some of the comments or no?
No, I didn't see. Somebody told me she was in Hawaii when she heard. She said, "Oh yeah, talking about me." So yes, Sandra, you are the queen, and I'm eating crow.
Matt, what would have happened if original Hina went to tribal? How would that have looked?
You know what? I think initially, if we went early, I think Jason was kind of the consensus. Like, yeah, this guy. But after a couple of days getting to know Jason, I was like, I'm never going to write his name down. He's the coolest guy you'll ever know. And I was in real tight with Steven. Steven and I actually had an alliance that never made the edit. We were the early birds, and when we pass each other, we would go cheep, 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 kind of a checking in, and that was legit. I've talked with Steven since. He's like, I was 100% in with that, and I hated to see you go. I don't feel like I would have been in danger had the original Hina 6 gone to tribal. I was the guy catching all the food, catching the crabs, the fish, the snails, building the fires, building the shelter. I don't know how it would have played out, but I don't feel like I would have been in danger had we gone to tribal as the original Hina 6.